whenever I start a new painting or a new series of paintings, I always tell myself that I'm gonna mask off the sides with masking tape to stop this mess happening, and I always get so excited that I don't do it. So what I'm doing at the moment, I've got my little sander and I'm just sanding off the edges as the first thing in finishing. Then I will mask them off before I start sealing. I'll show you that. I have the painting, the edges sanded so they're smooth. You can still see bits of paint, but that will get covered over when I paint the edges. What I do now, this is on a painting table, so can't really show you it all unless I hold it right up there. But I now just go over the whole surface of the painting, looking if there are any bits I don't absolutely love. And there's a little bit here that's kind of something and nothing that I want to fix. A little bit here that's a bit, I don't know, there's something about it. So this is my chance to just do any final touches, and then I'm going to start sealing it. So I've got the painting here. I've got the camera propped up in a precarious place on my sofa, so I could show you this. So I use this artist masking tape to put around the edges. And it's just a case of, it's just the right size for these Jackson's boards, which have a 20mm cradle on them. So it's just a nice fit for that. And what this will mean is if I drip, when I drip any of my sealing stuff, I use various things down the sides, I won't have to sand again. If I'd done this at the beginning, do as I say, not as I do, then I wouldn't have had to do any sanding, and I hate sanding the edges off. Right, so we have that sealed off. So the first thing I'm going to use is this gloss medium. You don't have to use gloss medium. The reason why I like it, this is to seal in the painting now, initially. Gloss medium isn't a final finish, really. You can use it to mix into your paints. I use it during the process to sometimes put a layer on to bring out the colour more. And that's why I like it at this stage, because it's just, once you have really lovely colour that you love, putting a gloss over it will bring the colours out. You can use matte if that's your preference, any kind of matte finish on your paintings, but a matte finish will always slightly dull the colours down. It's not a huge dulling, but if you want to see the difference, if you want to try it out, you can do some quick sketches on paper with paint and then try finishing with in different ways and see what you prefer. I'm going to show you what I like, and sometimes I like a gloss finish. Sometimes I like a really glossy finish, which isn't for everyone, but I just really like it on certain paintings, and I don't know where I'll end up with this one. Well, I'll decide until I get to it. So I'm going to leave that now to dry, and then I'll come back in and do the next layer. Right, so I've put 2 coats of gloss medium on this, and I'm now going to put some leveling gel on. And I must say that none of this is essential. So you could finish this painting now with a few coats of varnish, say satin varnish, and it would get a perfectly nice finish. But I like these gloss finishes because of what they bring out in the colour. So this is the way I'm doing it. So the stuff I'm using, and if you can see that, you can't because of the lighting, it's called Golden Clear Leveling Gel. And basically, this stuff, you can't put it on too thick, and so a lot of what I've just put on there is going to end up getting wiped off and wasted. I have this trowel, which I got from the hardware store. Just make sure it's clean on the bottom. And then I just push this stuff around, and the reason why what this stuff is made for is to even out surfaces. Now I'm not going to be putting enough on that it will level out the whole surface, but it does even out some of the divots and things that you get in your painting. So again, if you don't like that, this is probably not the stuff for you. What's very important with this, crucial in fact, is to have it on a flat surface, and to not put it on too thick, because once I've put this on, when it dries, it goes on opaque, but it dries perfectly clear. So this is a lot of faffing. It's faffing that I actually enjoy, because it's kind of sealing this painting as finished in my mind, if that makes any sense. Right, so I think that's good. It's all covered up. So that's it for that one for now. We'll leave it to dry and then we'll take the tape off, do the edges and do the waxing. So after I took the tape off, a little bit of the leveling gel had sneaked down the side, so I've just done a quick sand on the bottom. And the next thing I need to do, just to save myself a lot of grief, is to mask off this while I'm painting the edges. And if this seems like a lot of messing about, it is. But I think it's worth it when you've worked so hard on paintings to finish them off properly as best you can. For the sides, I always like to choose one of the light colours that's in the painting. Some people have a set colour that they'll use on every painting, and sometimes I do use yellow, ochre and white just mixed into a very light mixture. But since there's so much khaki in this painting, I'm mixing up a very light khaki and just painting that onto the side. And this is going in a frame, so the truth is most of this won't be seen. Now, while it's wet, I'm just going to pull that tape off in case any of it's got on my painting. And I usually do this while I'm working on other paintings, so I'll just leave that, it'll dry. But just to show you, when I've painted all the four sides, I've decided on this one that I'm not going to wax it because I like the glossy finish. But if I was going to wax it, that's a very simple process. Any cold wax, depending what country you are, the different brands, any cold wax is fine. And all you do is take a piece of kitchen roll or a lint-free cloth. You put a very small amount of cold wax on your cloth and you rub it on. You cover the whole thing in cold wax. You leave it for a couple of hours and then you buff it with a clean towel, just rubbing over it. To kind of bring it up to a sheen, and it comes up to a really nice smooth sheen if you do that. It takes the gloss off it, but it leaves this lovely sheen. I just prefer it sometimes to actually have the gloss, but that's what I would do if it wasn't red. It's usually the red ones that I end up leaving. I have now painted the sides in this khaki colour. That's a nail in the wall. It's glossed. So this frame I've just put on my painting table. This is a tray frame from Great Art in the UK. I know you can buy these things in America, but I'm not sure from where. But they're called tray frames. So I take my painting, which is now sealed, finished. I personally don't sign my paintings on the front, as you might have noticed. I sign them on the back. It's just a personal preference. I've got a bit of tape on it. But it fits into the frame nicely, as you can see. And then what I would do I would glue that on the back. So let me just flip it over and show you. So you can see on the back here, you end up with, this is the wood panel here. I use little spacers that I get from the hardware store that are used apparently in things like glazing. They're little plastic spacers. You stick them in to the front side to make it even all the way around. Then I get my glue gun and I just go along this seal here with glue. And that's it. It's glue gun. It's like the hot glue that when it dries, then it's set. And these are quite light panels and quite light frames. And then I just put fixings onto here. I sign the back, and I have a label that I put on them that says original artwork by Louise Fletcher, and that I handwrite the title into that. And that is a finished painting. Bad videoing, I know, sorry. So, yeah, so the spacers, you could even use, let me just get this back into place and I'll show you what you could do. So you have your picture in the frame and you want, obviously, the same difference all the way around it. So what I do for that is these little plastic spacers, but what also works well is pieces of thick cardboard. So these are just bits of paper, but basically they're not thick enough. But you stick in something thick there, and just, if you've got something of the same thickness, I know one artist who uses foam board for that. I've just got water all over my painting, but because it's all nice and glossy, it doesn't matter. So you can use foam core, anything that will just has an even, but the reason I like the spacers from the hardware store is they come in different widths, and you can use several of them to make the exact width that you want. And you know, they come in colours, so you have a green one for 1mm, a blue one for 2mm or whatever. So you know you're getting it even all the way around. But that's what I do to finish a painting, so I'm quite happy that that one's done. Anyway, I've really enjoyed showing you my process, and I hope it's been educational.